Well, you know that going live is a marvelous thing. And when you can send out a stream live, you are getting a chance to connect with people. Hi, I'm Terry Brock, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the marketing benefits that you get when you use tools like Restream and get out there. You know, I've been using Restream and love it because it gives you the ability to get out there and talk with people. And matter of fact, we got a special treat for you today because what we're going to do now is get a chance to see someone joining us. Anya is joining us right now from Restream directly.
Hey,
Anya, good to have you with us today. How you doing?
doing great. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. I'm very
And
excited.
really good to be here. And I'm going to say, I really appreciate all the help you've given me, helping me as I'm learning this and working with it. And that, and particularly today, what we want to do is look at some of the benefits that are there from a marketing point of view. I've got a lot that I've seen already and want to share some, but I want to tap into that genius that you have because you're talking with hundreds, thousands of people that are using this and some of the benefits you see. What do you see are some of the main marketing benefits for using live streaming?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, the power of live video is something that a lot of marketers are just kind of like tapping into these days. Live video has been around for a long time, but most of us think about live video as something that gamers do or entertainers do, maybe some crazy YouTubers. But now the pandemic was one of the most powerful, I guess, enforced tests for us as marketers in terms of what we need to do and how we need to do things differently in order to stay relevant despite all the circumstances. So live video gained popularity because of two main things. Number one, it's trust building. As a marketer, your number one job is to build trust between you and your client, your network, your community. So they associate your brand or your product or your service with something that they can trust. And number
Yeah,
two
exactly.
is
As a matter
the
of fact, if I can
interaction.
interrupt you right there, it's one of the
Yeah.
things I saw growing up. I worked in radio, when I was 17, and then undergrad was in that. But there was an intimacy, and still is, when you talk to and you hear that live broadcaster. Even though back then, of course, you couldn't see them, you just heard it. But I think something with live, it magnifies that exponentially. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The trust building process is due to the fact that you, as a broadcaster, or as a creator, or as a marketer who is using live streaming as a tool, you're making yourself vulnerable. You basically inevitably show up and say, "Hey, yes, I'm something might go wrong. I might screw up. I don't have it polished. I don't have an option to edit things out."
Oh
And
yeah,
that
but nothing has ever
vulnerability.
gone wrong for me when I'm doing it live. No, no, never
Exactly, like
has.
never,
Yeah,
never
right.
happens. Yeah, but that vulnerability is what people want and appreciate. So that's the opportunity to build this meaningful connection with people by saying, "Hey, I'm here, I'm real. This is not polished, this is not editing, this is real time." And then the second element kicks in, which is the interactive part. Like, so you can
Yes.
include your community into the conversation. And that's when this thing becomes a super powerful secret weapon because all of a sudden you can talk to people, you can include them in the conversation, you can highlight their comments, answer their questions in real time, and go all the way up to dropping your guest link into your chat and inviting people with their videos. Kind of similarly what you said you were doing with the radio, but instead of calling in, you can basically video call in. And that's the engagement, that's the level of interaction that you do not find in any other form of marketing or content. And that's what sets you up for success as a marketer.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of benefits from going live because, like you say, it's the intimacy, it's right now, and you're out there being a little bit vulnerable. You're saying, okay, here we go. And when we make mistake, not if, but when we make mistakes and they happen, okay, we roll with the punches and you get a chance to see the real person. I think it just creates that level of intimacy that we want now more than ever. Not just someone who can be the professional that is there saying every word correctly, but rather a real human being that's there. And I think that there's a place for recorded. I do a lot of that, and the recording has its place as well. But I think also another real advantage, tell you, Restream won me over when you said, I remember you were doing an interview with Ecamm, and you talked about the importance of being there in the platform where people already are. And to me, the phrase that hit me, Restream has changed me from the word or to the word and because you before you could go into Facebook or you could go into LinkedIn or you could go over to Twitter or I mean, it was like one, that's it. But now with Restream, you can go out up to 30 different platforms. I think that's pretty amazing on that. What kind of benefits have you seen from others working with it for reaching the multiple platforms at the same time?
Yeah, so the number one is, of course, the obvious. You're reaching more eyeballs, right? So by
Yeah.
going to one platform, you're, even if that's your major platform, you inevitably skip people that are forming your community on those other channels and destinations. And don't get me wrong, I understand what having major platform is. Like for me personally, LinkedIn is my number one platform. That's my
Yep.
main channel. That's where I have the most following. And yet I still have my Facebook, I have my YouTube, and I have my Twitter. And it's not as massive as my LinkedIn, but I still work really hard to build that community. And those people are very interested and engaged as well. So by basically multi-streaming, you're reaching all of them at the same time and using things like chat overlays. You include all of them and they come into the conversation together so they can see what other people are saying and they feel that they're all part of one discussion. There are two more benefits that I really like. One you kind of touched on, and that is bringing content to where people are. So there is kind of a lot
Mm.
to ask from people who are hanging out on LinkedIn all day to stop what they're doing and actually go on YouTube. Same for the other way around. If your life is browsing YouTube and looking at videos and watching what's going on, learning, educating yourself, and then all of a sudden you say, hey, drop all this, register at Facebook, and now join this private group, and that's where I'm going to teach you the things that I know. So that's a lot to ask. So by bringing
Mm.
content where people are, you are doing them great service and you are appearing as a much more compassionate and empathic educator, professional, product marketer, whoever you are, right? And I think the last third benefit that I heard from one of our customers actually that kind of blew my mind because that's different than what we typically share is that going live on multiple social platforms creates this effect of my product or my brand is everywhere. So if
Yes.
assume the situation that someone is actually jumping between platforms and starts their day on LinkedIn and all of a sudden they see a Restream tutorial, then they go to YouTube and then there's a live video masterclass showing them how to use Restream, and then they go on YouTube and all of a sudden there's a Facebook group where there is a contest about creating content on Restream and potentially winning, something great for live streaming, like good live streaming gear. And all of a sudden that person comes out of this thinking, all right, Restream is everywhere. I definitely need to look into this. And that's the effect that you can get by multicasting.
Yeah, I think it's really important because what you're doing is you're not saying, hey, you want to hear me, you got to come over here to this place. Instead, you're saying, I'm going to come over to your place right near you. I'll be right next door to you. So come on over at 3 o'clock. We'll have this thing. It will be nice. And I think that's really, really nice. Now, there's another thing that I experienced recently. And I was telling you this before we started recording. We're sending this out live. I have a regular program that I send out to clients of mine. We've got about 32,000 dentists that we reach every week. And I have a Talking Tech Tips with Terry Tuesday at 2. So you get the alliteration and all that. So we go out and we do that. Well, there have been a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, I was in other meetings. I was out of town, actually flying now. We're getting back into that. And I couldn't make it, could not do it. But what I did is I recorded beforehand and then carefully uploaded it, make sure everything was there. And at 2 o'clock, boom, actually it's at 1:59 I start, and then we do a countdown. So I put it in there. It came on beautifully. I monitored it from the other location, just watching it on my phone so I can see it. And when it came on, boy, I was beaming. It was like, yes, this is great. And I think that's a real advantage that Restream has. Talk to me a little bit about that and what you see are some of the benefits of being able to schedule a program to go out.
Yeah, absolutely. So Restream has two options how you can schedule your event. You can schedule a specific time to go live. That's if you are planning to be in front of your computer and ready to go yourself or with your guest. Or you can schedule a pre-recorded video. So exactly what you just shared as an example. So you can make this picture perfect video, or maybe something that you already done and that was really amazing, like a great interview, very insightful, was an expert, or some kind of masterclass that you built and carefully curated. And if you don't want to repeat that live, but actually want to reuse or recycle, repurpose that content, you can schedule that either recording or video upload that you would put into Restream and set it up to go live. So what Restream will do is it's going to push that video as if it was a live stream. So on end platforms for people who are experiencing the video on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, it's going to appear with that little live sign on it. So people will think that this is a live video. Now, we of course recommend to not trick your community into thinking that this is
Right,
happening.
absolutely.
So we recommend marking that in the title that this is a replay or this is a recording. And just like you mentioned, it would be great if you also could join that event from your phone or from any other computer, any other location, and kind of participate in the chat so people know that some real-time communication is happening. But the power of scheduling something live is enormous. First of all, yes, if you cannot make the time, if you have some great content that you want to reuse and repurpose, if you want to schedule something that actually did happen live for alternative time zones. So if you're catering for United States community, for example, you're live at certain time, but you can also touch base with European or even Asian communities by scheduling it at the time that makes sense to them. So lots of different options, lots of different benefits. Yeah, definitely Restream Scheduler is one of the things that is unmatched in the live streaming community in general. So no other alternative software offers that as of today.
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed that some other services that we won't mention right now that are good and they're doing the best they can don't do that. They don't give the ability to go out there and do that. But now another thing I'm just kind of curious is because we've got you here. You and I both speak Russian. You speak it very well because you are Russian. I know a few words of it and get by and enjoy that. But what kind of live streaming are we seeing in Russia?
Oh, wow. That's a good question that I don't have a good answer for because I've been in the United States for 10 years and I
Yeah.
do visit occasionally. Well, with pandemic, a lot of things and a lot of visits actually did not happen in the past year and a half, but I try to visit once a year. And most of the time it's my very unplugged on like offline time because I'm trying to maximize the opportunity to spend time with my family, with my friends from
Yep.
like school and college. So I honestly kind of don't know, but I know that there's certain platforms that are specific to the region. Like one of them is called VK. That's kind of like a similar to Facebook concept, but it's specifically catering to Russian-speaking, like former Soviet Union regions and those communities. So that's an interesting thing that Restream also integrates with. So if you want to tap into that community and kind of like experience and explore, that's the way to do it. You can just send the same stream that you're sending to your Facebook to VK. And a lot of people say, well, what about the language? Well, a lot of people in Russia actually do speak English, and a lot of people want to learn English. So that's why English speaking content by native speakers might actually be of great interest. You might trend pretty well there. Other than that, I know that there's a lot of course, gaming content. Marketing in terms of live is definitely happening. So we have a lot of users and clients in Russia, in that region. So it's definitely keeping up. But yeah, like I'm not like the best expert on like the trends in Russian live streaming because yeah, I mean, I should probably look into that more so I can speak intelligently about that next time.
Oh, well, you're doing just fine right now, and I think that's a wonderful thing to see it. And I think, really, in a way, this is a way for our world, I think, to get along even better. Because
Yeah.
I am a strong believer that the more we're connecting with each other, we're seeing each other, we're less likely to misunderstand each other. And this way, we can have a greater understanding of each other, where we're coming from. And by each other, I mean people around the world. We're all born and raised in a certain area, and we grow up thinking, oh, this is the normal way to do it. Well, Restream is a tool that can connect the world. And we're doing it with video. We're seeing each other. And so we can говорить по-русски, speak a little Russian there, and be able to say, hey, how you doing? And give a big spasibo bolshoi, thank you very much, etc. So I would encourage all that can do that. Let's figure out ways that we can connect with the world better. And instead of worrying about the things where we disagree, find areas where we agree and multiply that. It just seems like it'd be a good thing. Well, speaking of new things that are out there, I am experiencing wonderful new opportunity. This is actually a fun time for me because this is the first live program I've done on the new brand spanking new version of Restream that's out there. I mainly use, for me, I use Ecamm and then go into Restream, and it's like, this is amazing. I get the beauty and the wonders of Restream and couple it with a tool that I know and have worked with before. But I'm not going to let you get away without reaching through. I'm going to twist your arm just a little bit there and want to find out about some of the really cool new features that are in this new version of Restream. And is there a name for this new version or a number that's there?
Yeah, it doesn't really have a good name yet. It's just basically an update. We sometimes so the new way how you enter the studio compared to how you used to internally, we sometimes refer to it as a lobby because you used to start at the place where you just connect your channels and set up your titles, and then you enter either studio or an RTMP setting, which is your way to connect
And
Restream with
RTMP
something like
stands
Account.
for and does what for us? For those that wouldn't know what that is?
Yeah, RTMP is as actually in the name of the protocol that is used for live streaming, and it stands for real-time messaging protocol. So like that's what technologically describes the act of live video and live
You
streaming.
speak Russian and technology. You do both. You're amazing.
Yeah. So like I remember at some point we even ran like a giveaway contest and we asked people to tell us what RTMP stands for. And a lot of people kind of confused that like they were like real time video product. Yeah. So it's messaging protocol because for in the technological terms, video is also a message. For computers, it's just a message. So yeah, that's basically a real time video thing. So RTMP settings is what it means is that you can connect some other encoder to Restream. And that's exactly what you're doing, Terry, when you're going live with Ecamm. Other
Yes.
people use OBS, Vimix, Zoom, even. So whenever you're using something else to capture your video and audio and then restream it through us, that's when you connect it through RTMP. And the alternative to that is Studio, when you use the encoder that we built internally, and then you don't have to connect anything. You just go live from your browser, directly from your computer, no downloads, no special software installations required. So that's the power of going live from your browser. And when you do that, currently, so our new version allows you to immediately, when you start, to choose where and what are you going to do, right? You can go live instantly, which is what we're doing now. You can connect those alternative encoders. You can schedule an event that will be live or pre-recorded, just like you mentioned earlier, the thing that we spoke about just a couple of minutes ago. Or you can enter the record only mode. And that's a brand new feature
That's
that
a
we didn't
nice.
have before. Yeah, so you can just record in Restream without going live anywhere, without even connecting any channels. So that kind of positions Restream uniquely as a tool that not only allows you to go live and create this live video experiences on social, but also have all-in-one tool for recording your content. That could be your podcast, that could be your video that you're planning to add it and chop up into micro content later, or even just a simple practice that you could do before going live. Just record yourself, have a look. Do you like what you see? Should you polish something? And then after that, you actually show up for real.
I agree with you. Matter of fact, I think that's an important concept of recording it. I do that often, and I recommend that in the programs where I'm teaching because I guess it goes back to my time with Skype. When I was working with Skype, I was their chief enterprise blogger, and we were doing a lot of video interviews. We'd check the audio, make sure it's good, get the video, make sure it's good, and we get ready to go. I had this happen so many times. We'd get ready to go. We get ready. Okay, we're almost ready, and I go, Charlie, do you really want the whole world seeing that particular picture that's behind your head right now? And he looks over and goes, oh no, they reach over and pull it down. I'm going, you don't want that picture there shown out to the world. It's a good idea to do a quick recording when you've got that big major presentation. I mean, you need to kind of do it like grown-ups do it and everything. It's got to be really official and everything just right. Okay, record it for 30, 60 seconds. Because you see, I'm not seeing what's behind me right now. We're looking here. I have to look into, by recording it, I can look at it and go, ooh, wait a minute, that thing's out of whack there, or there's that thing in the way there. I go back, change it so that then when we go out to the world, it looks better. So I think that recording feature is really, really nice. And how long has that been out now?
So it's an interesting question because there are two different answers to that question. The fact that you could record in Restream existed for a long time, and it was a hacky way to do it. So in the past, you had to toggle off all your channels and then click this go live button, and that would trick our system into thinking that you're actually going live, but since no channels are connected, it will just record. Now, the record only button, that makes it very easy and simple, that kind of completely removes that stress around like, oh, what if I accidentally actually go live when I'm just practicing? Now that's gone, and that's relatively new. That's about a week old, so we're pretty excited about that.
Anya, on behalf of all users of Restream who love it so much, we thank you so much for that. It is good. It's going to be nice to have that and be able to use it. So what other features are there, particularly that can have a real marketing benefit for an entrepreneur that wants to get out there and connect with their community even more? What do we have under the hood there on this new version?
Yeah, so the new version, again, is very similar to, it's just basically the interface, the user experience change more than anything. But what I think marketers should definitely look into when they are thinking about live streaming and integrating that into their live streaming strategy or marketing strategy on social media altogether is our chat integrations. So you have the opportunity to go live to all those platforms, and you can highlight the chat messages of specific users, right? Like, so whenever, for example, right now I see that Richmond is saying, hello, Terry. So if you
Yes.
click on that thing, you can actually show exactly, you can show this message on your screen, and that's
Hi,
super
Richmond.
important for marketers. Yeah, hi Richmond. Yeah, so this is super important because you acknowledge them, you include them in a conversation. Imagine if Richmond had a question for me or for you, we could actually highlight that and answer it, and those people who are watching us on YouTube or LinkedIn could actually know exactly what's going on and what question we're answering, and they could see that comment and react to that in their term as well. You can also overlay chat. So that's an option that you have in the chat section. And then the whole chat is going to appear on your screen. And that can have a completely majestic effect, because then people from LinkedIn will immediately see what people are saying on YouTube and Facebook and vice versa, right? So you don't even have to highlight things. Like, people can see the whole conversation, and then they can talk to each other across platforms. Can you imagine that for your product, for your service, for your super important topic that you're covering?
Anya,
So
that's
yeah,
amazing. Someone on Facebook could talk to and communicate with somebody who's joining them live on LinkedIn. Think about that. That is a giant leap for mankind.
yeah, in real time. And that kind of comes back to your point when you were talking about how we can get more connected and focus on our similarities and agreements. So that's basically our philosophy here at Restream, connecting skilled people with curious people, right? Like, so you know how to do things, you know how to market products. There are a bunch of people who are curious about marketing. So that's the connection that you can create. And by going across platforms, you can also create those micro connections between other participants and audiences and viewers. And that's super powerful marketing tool. I know it doesn't sound like it, because yeah, it's not your pay-per-click or your artificial intelligence powered copywriting, but this is relationship building. This is
Yes.
connection creating, and this is educating your users, generating demand around your product and service in real time with honest, true, interactive conversations. So those are the experiences that I think the marketers of the future should be focusing on, because that's the future of marketing and the future of selling.
Absolutely. What we're doing is we're saying, hey, this person's over here on this platform, this one's here, and creating that conversation, solving problems is really what we're doing. And we're bringing in people from different places by using the wonders of Restream. It really is. Of course, you can tell I'm a little bit biased. I like it a lot and using it right now. Anything else that you want to let us know about on the new version that would help us to kind of get into it and work with it a little bit more?
Yeah, so the recording, the new recording that we talked about earlier is primarily us also targeting communities of podcasters and creators that go beyond live video in particular, right? And there are some cool features around that. For example, if you're creating a podcast, you can now record it at Restream, and you can also go to your video or audio recordings, and then you can download a variety of different things that came out from that recording. You can download the whole video, you can download audio only, or separate tracks, which is super important
Nice.
for podcasters because they can actually dissect certain sections, they can reduce the noise, there's no echo or no interference from like
Yes.
2 or 3 different conversations going on at the same time. So you basically can take just the feed from my microphone and create audiograms or create certain short clips around this. And that's super cool and powerful, because marketing really relies these days on bite-sized content, right? So a lot of times people would be super interested in the 20, 40, 30-minute interview, but a lot of times to attract the attention and to kind of grab audiences, you just need to give them something that's 1 minute or 30 seconds even, but that's really cool, short, insightful tip. And that's what Restream tools allow you to do seamlessly and easily. Record your
Absolutely.
thing, download your pieces, dissect it, edit it, chop it out, post it online.
Absolutely. Marketers that are watching this, think about what she just said. This is really important because you can say, here's that 30-minute interview, that hour-long interview you have with genius guests that you had. And genius guests said some wonderful things. And somewhere around 15 minutes and 23 seconds through 16 minutes and 47 seconds, there was a real gem. Well, you can go in there and grab what she said with her video, her audio, and with other tools. You can have it printed out there as an audiogram. You actually see the captions. People listen to that and they look at it. It's only just a minute or, real short. And they go, hey, that looks pretty good. I like that. To see the whole video, click here. You put that into your social media. And now what you're doing is it's really a funnel. You're getting people going, oh, okay, I got a couple of minutes here to watch this. They like it, and then they want to go watch the whole thing. And now with Restream, you can put these kind of things together, start carving it out, and really make it happen. Anya, this is amazing. We really appreciate what you're doing on this. And for me, I'm just like a kid in a candy store now, getting into this new version of this and what you're ready to go with it. Any other final words you want to leave before we have to say goodbye?
Yeah, I think I'll just add on to what you mentioned about how you can find that moment, that very insightful thing that you guest shared, or maybe even you accidentally shared by driving your live stream. Restream actually has another feature that is kind of different from all other platforms that or software solutions that are offering live streaming in this market today, and that's analytics. So if you're not sure what was that moment of your live stream that was super insightful and people loved the most, you can go to Restream Analytics and find the moment when you had the peak viewership or peak chatter activity and see, okay, so this was that killer moment. This was that section that I definitely need to cut out and
Very nice.
repurpose. And analytics in general give you a really good look into what you're doing and how you're growing, how your community is reacting, how your follower count is changing over time, as well as what's your active days, what's your active like peak times of the every specific broadcast. But yeah, that's the opportunity for you to apply data to your creative process and then benefit from that big time. So for marketers, that's something to look into as well. But yeah, other than that, dare to stream, challenge yourself, take chances. That's my one and only recommendations to all marketers. Don't try to always do things that worked in the past. Try new things, and that's how you'll flourish.
I like that. Did you hear that, marketers? That is so important. That's tweetable. You want to keep trying to push yourself because when you try something new, you can come up with something. Are you going to make mistakes? Absolutely. Welcome to the world. Welcome to 2021. It works that way, but nobody's going to die. It's okay. We make a mistake. We come back and we have some fun with it. We laugh. We enjoy it. And we go from there. There's a lot of good things that we can do that. Well, Anya, I have to say again, spasiba bolshoi. Thank you very much for this. And if someone says, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about what's going on with Restream, they go to restream.io. Any special words of advice you would give them?
No, just explore, create a free account so you can start with Restream for free. If you have any questions, reach out to our 24/7 support. Those are real humans, real people available on all plans, free and paid. So they will be happy to walk you through your onboarding, any kind of issues, any places where you get stuck. And you can follow me on Instagram. It's Anya Resina. And I do a lot of micro content as well about Restream, about live streaming in general, how to be successful at video creation. And yeah, have yourself a lovely rest of this week. Good vibes. That's the most important part.
Sounds good. And thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Terry Brock, and we will look forward to seeing you again further on down the road and with a lot more restreaming going on. Bye now.